Hello, CircEsteem community and internet at large. I'm Sam Brown, and today I'm gonna invite you into my kitchen, and we're gonna do a little cooking tutorial. I know it's not technically circus, but I do feel making a food entree and making a clown entree are very similar in their process, so we'll go over that. And I just want to give a shout out to my buddy Douglas LeGrew, the other half of Two Clowns Catering. And if you're interested in having us cook for you, make sure you're at casino night whenever it gets put on the schedule. So keep an eye out for that. So let's get cooking. And before we do get cooking, make sure that if you're going to be in the kitchen, that you are going to be supervised by a guardian. Whoever does the cooking in your house is probably the best choice. So yeah, let's get going. The first thing I'm going to get going, excuse me, is get that oil nice and hot. All right, so the oil is kind of like your premise. All right, it's the first thing you start with. It starts with your idea, all right, and then you're going to put all sorts of things in there. But the premise is really what's going to carry you through that whole act, just like the oil is going to carry all that flavor. All right, so it's getting a little bit hot. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of oregano in there, just as our first kind of idea and our build on the premise. I'm going to pinch the oregano just to wake it up a little bit. That is a nice little trick that I learned from my friend David Graham, who's a very good juggler. I should probably tell you what we're making today. The initial idea, the original idea, was to make you some mac and cheese to give you a little bit of comfort food during this weird time. But I didn't have any cheese, so I kind of had to come up with a plan B. So I went into my fridge and my pantry and I figured what I could make. I had some poblanos, some onions, some garlic, some stock, some potatoes, and some beans. So I'm gonna make potato and bean soup, and we'll see how it turns out. I've never made this before. Kind of like when you're coming up with an idea for a gag. You've never done this one before, but it could be a masterpiece, or it could be something that goes down to the disposal. So here we got our oil going. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add our first ingredient. Okay, it's going to be onions. I love onions. They're great. So these ingredients, all right, these are all the things that make up your gag, right? Or your entree, as we want to say. So all that you're putting in there is really going to make it up. So we got plot, we got different kinds of props, you know, the order of things. But it can also be different bits that you might have used or not used in the past. But every time you put in an ingredient or have an idea, you want to develop it, something that develops it, seasoning, right? You always want to salt your food. Nice. I like a lot of salt, what can I say? I'm going to get a little pepper in there as well, because if you put salt in, might as well put pepper in, because it's a little bit married, isn't it? Ooh, starting to smell good. You get me a spoon. All right, you want to give these onions time to sit in there and get all happy. All right, you really want to cook them until they get translucent. It should take about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, those onions are looking good. They're getting all super happy and warm and cuddly. I think it's time to add our next flavor in. The next flavor I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in our poblanos. All right, it's a nice pepper. It's got a little bit of heat to it, not as much as a jalapeno, but it's got a little bit of kick in there. Which, while you're chopping it up, is a really good reminder to not touch your face. So I'm going to toss those in here. Some of you taking clowning with me, you may have heard me say, you know, put your own salt and pepper in it. Do whatever you want. All right, those seasonings are kind of like that, like in a clown gag. It's what makes a clown gag you and unique to you and makes it so special. While those poblanos are getting there, I'm just going to make it a party real quick, and I'm going to add some garlic. I always put garlic in most everything, unless I'm making like chocolate ice cream. I wouldn't put garlic in that, I don't think, but you know, you got to try everything. Okay. Whew. Get that all nice and happy. Ooh, all of the smells. These are looking good. I'm going to get the heat up just a little bit on that. Alright. Gonna have a serious brainstorming session in here. And it looks happy right now, so I'm going to start adding in some carrots. Alright. Ooh, look at that. Nice and orange. Alright. Mix it around, get it all nice and happy with those poblanos, garlic, and onions. Woo! Woo, that's good. Now I'm going to add up in some diced potatoes, some papas. All right, I love potatoes. I don't think I'm alone in that. So, all you potato lovers out there, right back at you. All right. The next thing I'm gonna put in there are my beans, all right? I had these in the freezer. There's just some pinto beans I had in the freezer that taste really great. But just like I said before, sometimes when you're cooking up a new gag, you're like, hey, I had that really good gag before, maybe this will work for this dish. These beans are gonna work awesome for this soup. So always keep those gags in your back pocket. This is looking pretty interesting, I will tell you that. Next thing I'm gonna get in there, some canned tomatoes. Tomatoes are great to have on hand. They're a quick, easy dish. They can be a great addition to any quick, easy dish. They add a lot of acid, plus got a lot of vitamin C in them tomato fruits. This is all looking good. It's all getting happy in there. The beans, potatoes, poblanos, onions, everything we put in there is all getting really, really happy. But to make it a soup, we're gonna have to put in some liquid, right? We could just put in water. That'd be totally fine. If you just got water at home, just use that. All right, you might want to put some extra salt in there just to bring out some more flavors. If you have broth, any sort of broth, if you do veggie broth, chicken broth, beef broth, whatever you do, you can use that. But what I'm using today is some bouillon, all right? Bouillon's a great way to add flavor. It's pretty cheap too, and a lot of times it's like way in the back of your pantry. So if you go looking, you might find some bouillon. This is pretty salty, so I'm only gonna put in a couple. I'm not gonna put in as much as recommended. But the thing is you always can add salt, but you can't take it away. I'm gonna get that bouillon mixed around in there, all crumbled up, right? So I've had my water on this tea kettle this whole time, and that's a great way to speed up your cooking time, is if you can heat up that water before you put in that soup. That way not everything has to get hot before it gets going again. All right, I'm gonna take that. I'm just gonna fill it up. Mix it around. Ooh. That's looking good. And the last thing that any good gag is gonna need, it's gonna need some time. It's gonna need some time to develop. Let it simmer. Let it work itself out. All right, I'm gonna put this lid on here. I'm gonna put it on low, low, low. And I'm gonna come back in a few hours and see how this is, and I'll let you know. We'll have a little bit of a show off, so to speak. Alrighty guys, look at this final product. We got everything melding around really good in there. Those potatoes and carrots are nice and soft. My whole apartment smells super good, and even my son looks like he wants some. Yeah, Wilbs? Oh, he's camera shy. It's okay. Alright, let's see what my wife thinks. It's pretty hot.
That is good.
Nice. Good. Oh, Wilbur, you want some?
Blow on it. Good. Yummy.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Thanks all for hanging out with me today in my kitchen. It is my favorite place, the place where I do most of my self-care. And during this time of quarantine, I find myself in here a lot. So I hope you're all staying strong, staying healthy, staying inside, and staying sane. All right, I'm gonna do my part and respect the space and cultivate Team Awesome by doing all these dishes I just made before I eat this delicious food. Happy Friday and enjoy the weekend, y'all. Much love.